If you believe that some secrets are buried not to protect the guilty, but to protect the people left behind, then stay with me until the very end. Because today's story is not about a murder alone. It is about blood, betrayal, and a choice so painful that it nearly destroyed an entire family. And before we begin, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable African story. The first scream echoed across Aiyetoro village just before sunrise. It was the kind of scream that made dogs stop barking and made old women drop their clay pots. Within minutes, people abandoned their farms, left their breakfast fires burning, and ran toward the sacred Iroko grove. Nobody expected what they found. Lying beneath the oldest tree in the forest was Chief Adesina Adebamiji, the most respected elder in Aiyetoro. His white agbada was soaked with blood. His walking staff lay broken beside him. His eyes were still open, staring toward the sky, as though he had seen something too terrible to understand before his last breath. A strange symbol had been drawn in the sand beside his body, using fresh palm oil mixed with ash. Nobody dared touch him. Nobody even spoke. Chief Adesina had no enemies, or so everyone believed. By midday, the entire village square overflowed with frightened faces. Children whispered, women cried openly, men argued in hushed voices. The king, Oba Adetokunbo Adewale, sat in silence beneath the palace canopy. He had ruled Aiyetoro for 23 peaceful years. Never once had blood been spilled inside the sacred grove. Not once. The king finally stood. There is only one person who can reveal the truth. Everyone already knew who he meant, Baba Afolayan, the village oracle. For more than 40 years, Baba Afolayan had served as the bridge between the ancestors and the living. He never lied, he never took sides, and every prophecy he had spoken had come to pass. When two families fought over farmland, he settled it. When children disappeared during the rainy season, he led the searchers to them. When drought threatened the harvest, he foretold the coming rains. People trusted him more than they trusted themselves. But very few people knew the burden Baba Afolayan carried inside his own home. He had only one surviving grandson, Adebayo, 28 years old, hardworking, quiet, respectful. Or at least, that was what the village believed. Only Baba Afolayan knew that his grandson had changed over the past year. He had become restless, secretive, often disappearing into the forest at night. Whenever Baba questioned him, Adebayo always smiled. "Grandfather, every young man has his own struggles." The old man wanted to believe him. Instead, he prayed. That evening, the palace messengers arrived. "The king requests your presence immediately." Baba nodded without a word. Inside the palace shrine, only the king, the chiefs, and the oracle remained. The sacred cowries were placed before him. The white chalk was drawn across the floor. Incense filled the room. Baba closed his eyes. He whispered ancient prayers passed down through generations. The room became unnaturally cold. Even the flames on the oil lamps trembled. Then the vision came. He saw the sacred grove. He saw Chief Adesina kneeling. He saw another man standing behind him. He saw the knife. He saw the blood. And then the killer turned around. Baba Afolayan's heart almost stopped. The face staring back at him belonged to Adebayo, his own grandson. The room spun. His breathing became uneven. The vision disappeared. The chiefs leaned forward. "Who killed Chief Adesina?" Silence. The king repeated the question. "Tell us what the ancestors revealed." Baba Afolayan lowered his head. "The ancestors," his voice cracked, have chosen not to reveal the killer. The room exploded. What? Impossible. You have never failed before. The king stared into Baba's eyes. Are you certain? The old oracle nodded slowly. The spirits are silent. It was the first lie Baba Afolayan had spoken in over 40 decades, and it shattered something inside him. Outside the palace, disappointment spread through the village like wildfire. People could not understand. Some believed the ancestors were angry. Others whispered that dark power stronger than the oracle had entered the land. Fear replaced peace. Then, the second death happened. 3 nights later, Mama Ronke, the elderly herbalist who claimed she had seen someone running from the sacred grove before sunrise. She was found floating in the village stream. Her basket of medicinal leaves drifted beside her. This time, there could be no doubt. Someone was silencing witnesses. The village erupted. No one trusted anyone anymore. Neighbors began locking their doors before sunset. Friends stopped visiting each other. Children were forbidden from walking alone. Every shadow looked suspicious. Every smile carried hidden meaning. Baba Afomayo stopped sleeping. Each night, he replayed the vision inside his mind. Was it truly Adebayo, or had the spirit shown him a test? Finally, unable to bear the torment any longer, he confronted his grandson. Adebayo. Yes, grandfather. Look into my eyes. The young man obeyed. Did you kill Chief Adesina? For the first time in his life, Adebayo looked away. Only for a second. But Baba saw it. His heart broke. I asked you a question. Adebayo sighed deeply. No. The answer came too quickly, too smoothly. Baba wanted desperately to believe him. Instead, he felt fear. Real fear. Days passed. The murders stopped, but the silence became heavier. One afternoon, a stranger entered Aiyetoro. He introduced himself as Adekunle, a traveling blacksmith searching for work. Strong, polite, observant. Nobody noticed that he spent more time asking questions than repairing farming tools. He spoke with widows, hunters, children.
Farmers. Bit by bit, pieces of the mystery came together. One evening, he visited Baba Afolayan privately. I know you recognized the killer. The old man's hands froze. You are mistaken. Adekunle shook his head. No. I have watched your face every day since the king summoned you. You know. Baba remained silent. Then Adekunle quietly revealed something unexpected. I am not a blacksmith. I serve the king of the neighboring Yoruba kingdom. I investigate crimes that village leaders cannot solve. The oracle's heartbeat quickened. Adekunle continued. I believe your silence has already cost another innocent life. Those words struck Baba harder than any weapon. That night, the old man could not pray. He could not eat. He simply stared at the moon until dawn. At sunrise, another discovery changed everything. Hidden inside Chief Adesina's hut was a leather pouch. Inside it were old land documents and a handwritten confession. Years earlier, Chief Adesina had secretly transferred ownership of a large cocoa plantation into someone else's name. Not for himself, but to protect the village from greedy relatives who wanted to sell it to outsiders. Only one heir would eventually inherit it: Adebayo. Suddenly, everything made sense. Greed, inheritance, silence, opportunity. Baba rushed home. His grandson was packing a small bag. "Where are you going?" "I need to leave the village." "Why?" Adebayo stopped moving. For several long seconds, neither man spoke. Finally, the young man whispered, "I never wanted this." Baba's knees weakened. "What have you done?" Tears filled Adebayo's eyes. "I only wanted him to sign new papers." He refused. We argued. He pushed me. I pushed him back. He hit the stone. I panicked. I thought he was dead. So His voice disappeared. "You stabbed him." Silence answered. Baba covered his face. The grandson he had raised, the child whose parents had died before he could even speak, the boy he had carried on his shoulders through village festivals, was a murderer. And Mama Ronke? Adebayo collapsed onto the floor. She recognized me. I begged her not to tell anyone. She refused. I was afraid. The room filled with heartbreaking sobs, not only from Adebayo, but also from Baba. Because in that moment, he realized something terrible. His lie had not protected his grandson. It had encouraged him. Before sunset, Baba Afolayan walked alone to the palace. Villagers watched him in confusion. Inside the king's court, everyone fell silent. The old oracle removed the sacred beads from his neck. He placed them before the king. Then he knelt. "I have sinned." Gasps filled the room. The ancestors revealed the killer on the very first day. The king's expression darkened. "Who?" Baba lifted his tear-filled eyes. "My grandson."
The palace erupted. Some chiefs shouted in disbelief. Others demanded immediate punishment. The king raised his hand. Silence returned. "Bring Adebayo." The young man did not resist. He walked into the palace, surrounded by guards. His face carried no anger, only exhaustion. When asked if the oracle had spoken the truth, he nodded. "I am guilty." The entire village wept, not because justice had finally arrived, but because they all knew Adebayo. They had watched him grow. Many had carried him as a child. Now he stood before them in chains. The king remained silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "The law must stand above blood." He sentenced Adebayo according to the customs of the kingdom. No one celebrated. No one cheered. Justice had come at too great a cost. As for Baba Afolayan, he never served as oracle again. He believed he had broken the sacred trust between himself and the ancestors. He returned the sacred beads permanently. From that day forward, he lived quietly on the edge of Aiyetoro, tending a small farm and spending his evenings praying beneath the same Iroko tree where Chief Adesina had died. Years later, whenever young people asked why the old oracle had abandoned his calling, the elders would simply say, "The hardest judgment a person will ever make
is not against a stranger. It is against someone they love. And whenever the wind rustled through the ancient trees of Aiyetoro, people remembered that justice delayed can become justice denied, and that protecting the guilty, even out of love, can wound far more hearts than the truth ever could. If this story moved you, don't leave without subscribing, because the next story may change the way you see family, loyalty, and the price of silence forever.